Hello everyone, I'm Gail Davenport. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And it's Stampin' Fun with Gail time. Today, this is the card we're going to be making, and I used Bewitching for the hat, the stars, the shoes, the hat, and the stars, and then I used the frog and the best witches from this stamp set. Now, this comes as a bundle for 10% off, and we used the punch as well. So I've already made this card and I messed up my video, so I can't make another one because I don't have all the paper and I didn't realize that. So we're going to go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and explain it to you. So this is 3 by 4, this white piece of paper. And what I did is I took a blending brush and I put in the Highland Heather, and then I did the olive green and a little bit of granny apple green in the middle. I dyed my hat with, or stamped my hat using my Misty to get it nice and black. And I did some pumpkin pie light, then dark, then over it again. And that's how I did my pumpkin. And this is light and dark old olive in the Stampin' Blends. Then I cut this at 4 1/8 by 3 1/8. And that's how I got my little tiny border of that. This is 3 by 5, and I did offset it. This is from the Brights paper, and I just put it down just to lighten it up a little bit. On the inside, it's 4 1/4 by 5, and I used Daffodil Delight to stamp my stars, and again the Highland Heather for the best witches. And then I used my blending pen, and I just put in a little frog with a little bit of a yellow tummy there, and I just thought he turned out really cute. Okay, this is the next card we're going to be making, Hello Harvest, and I absolutely love this. I did the embossing folder, which is Leaf Fall 3D embossing folder, and I just thought it was elegant to just leave it white. I liked the little border around it and the stamp set that it comes from. All of it is Hello Harvest. We used the pumpkin and the hello, and I used the leaves, and I'll tell you how I did that in a minute. On the inside, I stamped this on an extra piece of paper, and I put it on dimensions, but I decided it really didn't need to be on dimensional. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this, and I'll show you how I did everything. First of all, I took a piece of Basic White, and this is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. Then I took this, which is 4 by 5 1/4, and I ran it through the embossing tool. So before we go any further than that, we're going to go ahead and adhere this. Or did I? No, I think I put that on dimensionals, didn't I? I did, and that's what I was just thinking it would look better. So good. So we're going to go ahead and adhere, though, the pumpkin onto our little, and I would definitely recommend either a really strong adhesive type tape if you've got it, or something like the multi-purpose, because when you're gluing on embossing, it just seems to be harder to get it to adhere. And I'm going to put it right about there. And then I stamped this hello, and I did it on a wider one on this, but I didn't like it. I thought it took a little bit too much of the pumpkin, so I wanted to change that up just a little bit. So, and then I went ahead and I made a little banner for it, so we're going to do that real quick. And I had way too much coffee today. I don't usually drink that much, but I did today because I felt like I couldn't wake up, and now I got the caffeine shake, so sorry about that. Note to self, on days of filming, don't drink so much coffee. So then I took just a baby white in one of our empty cases, and I put drops of different kind inks in it. There's Old Olive, there's Cajun Craze, there's Cherry Cobbler, there's Pumpkin Pie, there's Daffodil Delight, and I stamped all my leaves. And when I went ahead and when I stamped them, how they got all multicolored, I just loved that. So then I took them with a glue dot, and I just put them together. Kind of like that. I did the same thing with this one. Put it together like that. Then I decided where I wanted to put my hello exactly. And I was trying to put it where I could see it, and yet it wouldn't take a, oh, that didn't even glue. I thought it did. So here we go. If at first you don't succeed, try again, right? So now I'm going to put those on each side of this. And these are itty bitty little glue dots. I was out of glue dots. I didn't realize that. I'm just not very prepared today. I'll blame it on Monday, but I've just had a whole lot going on. My granddaughter just got married. Then we went up to Northwest Arkansas and babysat for my granddaughter. Not that there were any problems, but I guess it just wore me out more than I realized. And I don't have my dimensionals. I'll be right back. Okie doke. And I went ahead and put this on dimensionals. And I'm doing it in kind of there, but I'm going to also do it on the leaf so it doesn't get too far out. But it's kind of just a second reimbursement of, you know, sticking your leaves down. So put one out here. I'm going to put one out here. I'll take these all off. I was trying to get ready for filming, and I had to do all my a lot of my stamping ahead of time, and my fingers have got ink all over them, so I apologize for that. But anyway, and I think that's going to look pretty good. We're going to go ahead and use some more dimensionals and adhere that to the front. And yes, I am a dimensional snob, queen, whatever you want to call me, but I just don't think in some cases you can have too many, so. And I can't do like most of these people do and take two at a time usually, so. My hands don't always work, but it doesn't keep me from stamping, so thank God for stamparatuses. Okay, so this is going to go now on the front of the card. And now we're going to do the inside of the card. And here it is. And we're going to stamp the loveliest day. Wishing you the loveliest day. So and I did that in old alum, so we're going to get that back out. Okay. And then we're going to adhere this to the inside of this card. Okay, and that's card 2. So just remember, it's Hello Harvest, and it's framelits, and that's how we cut out the pumpkin and the leaf. And this is a really cute little 3D type thing if you want it. It has little scrolls, vines and things. So it's a really sweet set. So now on to our next card, and this is called the Christmas Barn. And this is the card that we're going to be making. And I did this one standing up. So this is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. So we're getting ready to go on this one right here. Okay, so we're going to set this aside for a minute and this aside for a minute. And I went ahead and did the cutting out and coloring of these just to save us some time. And I used watercolors or a blending pen for this because I wanted the barn to look older and faded, and it really did a beautiful job, probably better than I could have ever done any other way. So I'm very, very thankful for it. And so I'm going to look here and see where I'm putting this. And this again, this is 4 by 5 1/4. And this will be the inside, so I'll tell you about that in a minute. So what I did is I used some balmy blue. And I just had that one out. Here it is. Okay. And I just kind of went around it like it's blue clouds, but yet, I mean blue sky, but yet there's some clouds in there. I just thought it looked really good that way. Set that off to the side. Set that off to the side for a minute. Put this one back so we can see it. I just kind of went down the side of it a little bit, even into the evergreens, and just, okay. And again, I didn't do a lot of dimensionals because I just feel this has so much dimension on its own. But I did feel I needed to do some placing in my head to decide where I wanted things. So I have the barn right here, and I want to bring it down below the trees, but I still want to give some room because I'm going to put the silo in there. I am born and raised from Wisconsin, and so we had a lot of dairy barns, a lot of red barns, a lot of silos. So I kind of enjoyed this because it took me back home for a little bit, but I've lived in the South way, way longer than I've lived in the North, and I get picked on by my family when I go home now, but oh well. And then the wreath on the barn. So I think we've got a good plan. So I'm going to take the barn and the wreath. We're going to start out with that. The wreath I stamped in Evening Evergreen. And I wanted to bring it down just a little bit past the top of that. I'm not so worried about that top window in this case. I just want to and then we're going to go ahead and adhere this right about here, but I'm not going to press it real hard because I want to do my silo yet. So get the front of him done. And I just realized I didn't color the barn to do that, or the little top there. So bear with me for just a minute and we'll get that done. You know what I just thought of? You know the puffy snow that is out again? Wouldn't that be cute around the top of that and some swirls here and maybe fill in some of this? I should have thought of that a little bit earlier, but wouldn't that be cute? Okay. And I'm just doing the back part of this fence, the little narrow part, and putting it right there. And I'm going to decide where my sleigh's going to go. And I think he's going to go right there. But I want to get my stamp set again because they have the little footprints or whatever you want to call them. But I thought they were so cute and knocking everything over in my path. And I thought we'd stamp that in a little bit of Memento ink. like it's going up the trail. Isn't that so cute? Okay, and then we're going to put some dimensions on my horsey. Gonna make him happy, right? And I think we only need, I don't know, maybe we'll put a third one right there. Make sure he stands up. Okay, and I, again, watercolored. The horse is in crumb cake, and his jacket is in crumb cake, and that's a real light crumb cake. The reins and the shoes are an early espresso. This is Tempting Turquoise, the blanket around both of them and on the back. Granny Apple Green is his hat, and Balmy Blue is her hat and her scarf. And then his little mitten is Granny Apple Green, and hers is the Balmy Blue again. So this is going to go on this, which is just 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I try not to make these videos too long. If I did everything with you, it would take long, and I think most of us know how to do this part of it. So this goes on the inside. And what did I do with my... So here we go. I cut it, but I didn't fold it. Okay, so we're gonna put this on the front. And then we're going to get a little bit of Wink Estella. And I figure we'll just give us some snow. But that puff snow would have been so cute. Okay. And on the inside, we'll put our Merry Christmas to you and yours. I just loved the saying, it's the most wonderful time of the year on the outside, because it makes you think winter and Christmas and warm. And so, you know, that entire season, you're wishing him warmth and happiness and lots of love, and I just think it's a good way to do it. Okay, there we go. That's our third one. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and tap the little bell so you'll get my notifications. This is the code that you can use today if you want to order anything. It'll be open for 2 weeks. The other thing that I'm going to ask you, though, is if you're spending $150 or more, do not use this code. You can put me down as your demonstrator or where you've learned it, but you will get about $15 or more, depending upon how much more you spend, in cash rewards that you can use towards something in Stampin' Up! in either catalog. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a blessed day. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.